Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Arena for varsity basketball competition. Please welcome our guests from Evans High School. They are the Trojans. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before we begin our game this evening, we ask that you please stand and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. And now let's meet the starting lineups for both teams. We'll begin with our guests from Evans, and we'll start at guard with 5'9" senior number 2, Andrew Marcel. At guard, 6'4" senior number 3, Clarence Cummings. At guard and forward, 6'3" senior number 10, Dante Adderley. At forward, 6'7" senior number 21, Andy Antoine. And finally for the Trojans at guard, 5'10" junior number 22, Deshaun Osborne. And the head coach of the Trojans, Lonza Morgan, and associate head coach, Sudarius Roundtree. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mustang Arena on YouTube Live and the NFHS Network. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs. I'm joined, as always, by Neil Fisher of the Apopka Chief, and we will be taking you through tonight's game. Latavius Poole puts the Mustangs on the board.
Buzzsaw just down the road there at Apopka. Of course, Scott Williams, the former coach at Wekiva, built that program into a team that looks like it's ready to make a long run into the FHSAA postseason tournament. And Wekiva comes in now with an 8-12 record. Evans is 15-6. Now, this is an important game for those of you who are not familiar with the district. Evans and Wekiva are both in District 983. Now, Evans has clinched the number 2 seed. And Apopka has clinched the number 1 seed. However,
foul is called against Terrence McLean as Andy Antoine takes the charge. It's his first, the team's first.
So, like I was saying there, Mark, even though Wekiva, the best they can do is third, they're actually tied with Wekiva at 1-4. Evans is 3-2. There's only 1 game left, and there's a 2-game deficit. However,
still, a third-place finish would be meaningful to Wekiva, right, because it would mean that Wekiva would not have to face Apopka in the first round of the tournament.
And also, just as far as being able to establish their game, winning 2 games is a big difference than 1. I mean, you can say it at home. 2 victories versus 1 victory, it just sounds a lot better. It sounds like a lot more solidification there.
Deshaun Osborne puts the Trojans on the board for 3.
So now, after 3 consecutive possessions by Evans, in which they did not score, they finally break through. Wekiva having a couple of opportunities there to extend the lead. They could not get the job done. And Wekiva's going to catch a break here as Evans got the turnover. They intercepted the inbound pass.
And so the Mustangs go to work again, and you may have noticed as I was reading the starting lineups just a moment ago, Michael James picks up the jump shot for the Mustangs. Sorry, I interrupted myself there. But as I was calling out the starters, you may have noticed only 2 seniors in the starting lineup. We also had a freshman and 2 sophomores on the court right now. So Wekiva, while they do have some seniors, the top talent on the team is frankly also some of the youngest. And so the Mustangs have a good look for the long-term future, but they have certainly struggled this year with their overall record and particularly with their district record.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to belabor the point, but I think it is important to bring up a very up-and-down team, which can be seen in last Friday's game against Apopka. It was really a repeat of the first time the two teams played, and we'll get to that in just a minute here after the foul is sorted out.
Foul called against number 21, Andy Antoine. That's his first personal foul. And the team's first, the basket by Michael James is good. He's at the line shooting for the three-point play.
As I was saying, against Apopka, it was really a repeat of the first time they met in December. Apopka took a 19-2 lead. That lead got all the way up to 38 points in the third quarter before it wound up being a final 62-33. And what really spearheaded that was at the very beginning.
Andrew Marcel on the pass to Andy Antoine for 2.
What spearheaded the 19-2 run by Apopka was they began the game shooting 6 of 7 from the floor, 3 3-pointers, 3 2-pointers, but they got a huge hand there from Wekiva, turning the ball over 6 times. That first half, Apopka was 19 of 33, so over 50%. And again,
Terrence McLean on the Mustang jump shot.
And, again, I like to say you don't have to be a basketball guru to understand when you're shooting 50% from the field and you're getting 9 more field goal attempts because of the turnovers, you're going to wind up having a big lead there. So the reason, now again, continuing with that point,
Andy Antoine gets the basket on the pass from Deshaun Osborne and a chance to make it a 3-point play. The foul is called against Mustangs number 21, Latavius Poole, his first and the team's second.
So continuing that point, that loss and really that start, which was just, it was an assault, comes on the heel of Wekiva doing the same exact thing to Dr. Phillips en route to an 18-point victory. I believe actually 16 points, excuse me. And the only difference was that Wekiva made its run at the beginning of the third quarter, but they actually shot, I believe, 5 of 7 from the field and got 6 turnovers as well. So, and that's exactly what Coach Lubin said after the game against Apopka, that Apopka did exactly to Wekiva what Wekiva had done to DP. And again, going back to your original point, Mark, all that is very indicative and reflective of a team that's young at this level.
Terrence McLean for 3.
So far as we approach the 3-minute mark, Wekiva is doing a good job here. They had a couple of bad possessions there after taking the lead, but since then they're shooting the ball very well, maintaining the lead.
Foul is called against number 21, Latavius Poole. That's his second personal foul, and the team's third.
The last 3 on the wheel.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Xavier Christian.
So far, Wekiva's caught, I wouldn't call it maybe a huge break as far as the impact, but certainly if it continues, a cumulative effect at the free throw line. Evans is 0 of 3.
Yeah, and the Mustangs lost the first game in this series 66-52, so certainly we're seeing a hopeful start for Wekiva.
Yeah, and I've mentioned it a number of times during the first half of the season as Evans misses yet again, leaving 4 points on the table now from the free throw line. Wekiva had a horrible habit of falling behind as soon as the ball was tipped off, and usually that margin got to at least double digits, at least 10 points.
Michael James is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. The foul is called against number 3, Clarence Cummings. That's his first personal foul, the team's second.
And so again, falling behind by double digits, I believe they were down by as many as 15 against Evans early in the second quarter, the first time the teams met. That was really the story of that first game. Wekiva did rally. They did get within a couple of possessions midway through the fourth quarter. But again, I can just tell you it's very, very difficult to be able to make up that whole difference when you fall behind by double digits early.
Yeah, and that is something that, Neil, you and I have talked about all season long that has been haunting the Mustangs, not just in the Evans game, but in a number of their games where they've had to battle back from a double-digit start where they trailed, and it's a lot to ask of a team this young. And so certainly we're not seeing that materialize here. The Mustangs up 7.
Yeah, and that was where I was going, is that Wekiva did get off to a good start. Again, not just on the scoreboard. Obviously, that's the most tangible measurement, but they're making their field goals, and they're not committing the kind of mistakes which open the door for the opponent to take that double-digit lead.
So Donovan Stokes, the JV bump-up, the young sophomore, returns to the game for Wekiva. Christian down the baseline, doesn't have it, goes back out to the top of the arc. Laster doesn't have the 3, but an offensive rebound to Christian gives him a second chance. Can't get the putback either. It's going to go out of bounds off of the Mustangs.
And, we mentioned the turnovers, and again, going back to the game Friday night against Popka and the game last Wednesday against DP, that was really the catalyst for the 2 wins and the outcomes in those games. But offensive rebounding has played a big role here so far early. Wekiva's gotten, I believe, 6 points off of offensive rebound. I know they've certainly been able to get some extra shots because of their offensive rebounding.
And the rebound is won by Andrew Marcel, and so the Trojans will get another chance here after missing the 3. To the corner, open baseline, and it's blocked by the foul called nevertheless. So that block will come off. Mustang foul is called against number 3, Tristan Bryan. That's his first personal foul, the team's 4th. At the line shooting 2, Andrew Marcel. So unfortunately, Bryan not able to control his falling motion to the floor there and then causing that block. He wasn't the one who actually had the block shot. There were 2 players covering him, and that's how it went down.
Yeah, that was, I guess you could say, a youthful mistake there. Getting over-aggressive. There were, as you just mentioned, 3 players on the baseline. You didn't really necessarily need to be aggressive to the point you were looking for contact. However, I think Coach Lubin, he'll be able to live with that because it was a foul being over-aggressive.
Yeah, you'd rather have that than to have your team just collapse and die and allow the baseline coverage to get blown. Held ball, possession Mustangs.
And again, offensive rebounding playing a role there. Strong on the board, and that really drew the foul there. So there's some more offensive rebounding. Nice job on tip there and good control of the body to get that right angle off the backboard. Some more good defensive rebounding now at the other end here on the defense. And Wekiva has an opportunity to go into the second quarter here with the double-digit lead. And as we mentioned, Mark, that was really a big story this year, of course, since the beginning of the calendar year, 2019. They have not fallen behind quite as much. But nonetheless, it would be nice to be at the other end of that double-digit lead.
Checking into the game for the Trojans, Clarence Cummings, and Arthur Johnson.
And something a bit unusual in today's game, Evans is actually playing a zone.
I'm not sure what that call was, and I don't think Coach Lubin is either, but it was a turnover nevertheless.
Yeah, Coach Lubin asked the ref. The ref whispered in his ear. They were standing next to each other, and you could see by the expression. Of course, Wekiva, man-to-man. That's their primary defense.
Jashawn Melvin gets the basket and a chance to make it a three-point play. Foul is called against Mustangs number 32, Donovan Stokes, his first personal foul, and the team's fifth. And so, Neil, instead of having a chance to go into the first break with a double-digit lead, it could be cut to as little as 4. And it will not be, though, as that's going to go out of bounds. And that takes us to the end of the first period, and it's a 6-point lead for the Mustangs in a definite counterpoint to the first meeting between these two teams this season at Evans. Mustangs go into the break leading 16-10. The Trojans have the opening possession of the second period.
And so as we come back to live action here, Mark, 16-10, and we talked about that last play before the end of the first quarter was really a bad mistake there on Wekiva's part. Obviously it cut the lead, but Wekiva had an opportunity to really get some momentum and establish its game. They're going to catch a break here with the turnover. Slip on the floor. So the fact that Evans had the ball last and then at the beginning of the second quarter, that's not going to matter. That's going to be a moot point.
Palming is called against the Mustangs. Trojans ball, checking into the game for Wekiva, number 10, Isaiah Laster. And so, Neil, that's a mark of inexperience there, as that was not a forced error. The Mustangs were not even really being guarded that heavily, and they make the carrying violation.
Yeah, it's just one of those errors that you really need some experience, but
two rebounds in a row for Arthur Johnson. Gives the Trojans new life. And they're going to say that it hit the backboard equipment on the bounce off the rim, so that'll be out of bounds and effectively a team rebound for the Mustangs.
Yeah, and I talked about the offensive rebounding there during the first quarter, Mark, and now that the first quarter is over, in particular offense of rebounding was very strong for Wekiva, an 8-3 advantage and a 15-5 advantage overall in the rebounding, as now they make another mistake.
Andrew Marcel steals 2 for the Trojans.
And again, what could have been a 10-point or even 11-point lead has now been dwindled down to 4 points. Looking at the field goal percentage, Wekiva shot the ball extremely well, at least from 2-point range, 5 of 10. Not so hot on the 3-point, which is not unusual, only 1 of 6, but that's still better than Evans, which is 4 of 10 overall.
Andy Antoine returns to the game for the Trojans.
Do you remember who got the last basket off that turnover? 2.
Andrew Marcel shoots a short air ball. Nobody wants anything to do with that. Returning to the game for Evans, Deshaun Osborne.
So again, Evans, I certainly would say that's nothing to write home about.
30-second timeout requested by the Mustangs.
Certainly nothing to write home about, but certainly respectable. 40% by Evans, 4 of 10. And they're shooting about the same here, at least early in the second quarter.
Your early stats, Andy Antoine with 4 points for the Trojans, Andrew Marcel and Deshaun Osborne with 3 each. Mustangs led by Michael James with 7. Terrence McLean has added 5.
And so now we're going to see some full court pressure for the first time in this game here by Evans. And they're playing a trap here. And it's going to pay off dividends.
That's Surrey Washington that picks up the steal there.
That's the 4th turnover for Wekiva. And we're only 2 minutes into the second quarter.
Block is called against Mustangs number 10, Isaiah Laster. That's his first personal foul. And the team's 6th.
Both teams turned the ball over 3 times in that first quarter. Wekiva now has 4 already, and again, only 2 minutes into the second quarter.
Clarence Cummings is fouled on the putback attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Trojans. Mustangs foul is called against Donovan Stokes. That's his 2nd personal foul and the team's 7th. And so, Neil, those offensive rebounds are so critical. First of all, obviously, they give you another scoring opportunity. Even if you don't score, though, you end up with a situation like that where you end up drawing a foul. You get 2 chances at the charity stripe, and you pump up the foul count on the other side, which is why Evans is in bonus, and Wekiva still has 4 more fouls they need Evans to give.
So again, poor shooting continues for Evans. They are now only 2 of 8. And Evans, of course, as you would expect, remains in the full court defense. And whoa, almost had another turnover.
Almost lost that. Gets a shot blocked. And the rebound goes to Andy Antoine.
Yeah, again, McLean's a senior. That was a mistake you expect from an inexperienced player, not really waiting for his teammates to get down there, trying to do it all himself.
Poor ball handling at the baseline will result in out of bounds Mustangs ball. Checking into the game for the Trojans, Dante Adderley.
This time we got a nice pass, but
yeah, the dribble not so nice though.
Yeah, and that was an unforced error, even though it was full court pressure. Nobody was even facing Laster. He just lost it, heard the footsteps there like a receiver does in football.
Andy Antoine picks up 2 for the Trojans.
So more turnovers again for Wekiva, and what could have been a 10-point lead about at the end of the first quarter has been dwindled all the way down to a point.
Yeah, we had now another turnover here. 3 minutes and 15 seconds have gone by. The Mustangs have not scored yet this quarter. Deshaun Osborne is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Trojans. The Mustang foul called against number 12, Isaac Laster. That's his first personal foul and the team's 8th.
So, again, as I've mentioned several times, poor free throw shooting from Evans, only 2 of 8. And basically that's what's keeping Evans from taking the lead right now.
Well, they hit one here.
And now Evans does finally take the lead. Who got those free throws? 22. 2 and 20.
More trouble for the Mustangs thanks to the pressure from the Trojans. They're able to pull it together on this possession, though. Long shot from Isaiah Laster. That was a low percentage attempt. And it does, in fact, not go out. Osborne on the rebound, go to the other end. And once again, we're going to get a shooting foul. Push is called against number 21, Andy Antoine. That's his first personal foul. And it's the team's 3rd. So Mustangs catch a break there. I thought they were going to call Wekiva on the block, but they're going to say that Evans pushed first. And now we're going to get another foul. Hold is called against Trojans number 10, Dante Adderley. That's his first personal foul. And the team's 4th.
And now fouls are distinctly in Evans' favor, too.
Steal on the inbound and a foul. Well, that was just about the worst way that could have gone. Foul called against number 15, Michael James. That's his first personal foul. And the team's 9th. The basket by Deshaun Osborne is good. He's at the line shooting for the 3-point play.
And right now, it's almost as if Wekiva was totally stunned that they're seeing full court pressure. We've played 20 games so far. This is the 21st game. And they're just not moving. They're standing around still looking like they're in that mode of thinking about what to do instead of actually reacting, using their instincts. Again, not a lot of movement with that full court pressure by Wekiva. And, again, you don't need to be a basketball guru to understand you got to move around the court. You got to create some passing lanes for the guy who's doing the inbounding.
Christian with an anemic layup attempt. Fortunately, gets his own rebound. 3 seconds in the key. Trojans ball. Checking into the game for the Trojans, number 24, Jashawn Melvin. Michael James back for the Mustangs.
So yet another turnover for Wekiva, 8 now.
Traveling Mustangs ball.
And now I'm not complaining, Mark, but I really don't understand why Evans is calling off the full court pressure, considering they got a turnover on 3 of the last 4 possessions.
Yeah, it's been successful for them so far. The Mustangs still held scoreless, if you can believe it. 5 minutes have gone by with the Mustangs scoring nothing.
Yeah, 11 consecutive points now by Evans. Evans goes back to that 2-3 zone.
Yeah, Wekiva has not scored since there were about 35, 40 seconds left in the first period. Poole on the rebound. Mustangs have a chance to finally stop the bleeding. 3 for James. It's good. Michael James for 3. And we'll pause for a 30-second timeout requested by the Trojans. Well, Neil, that was just what the doctor ordered. We'll pause here for a quick break as the Trojans apparently not satisfied with even just one basket going in. It ties the game, though. It tells you just how well the first quarter went for the Mustangs, that they can go scoreless until 2 minutes and 17 seconds left and still have a tie ball game.
Yeah, really, it's been, I guess, say a half within a half. It's not that uncommon. Basketball is a game of runs, and of course, runs come from being able to also do the underlying stuff, the statistics, turnovers, field goal percentage, rebounding. And again, don't really have time to go through it, but trust me, the stats are much more skewed, a lot heavier in the first quarter towards Wekiva, more skewed towards Evans here in the second quarter.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Isaac Laster.
So again, Wekiva remaining in man-to-man defense. They've gone with man-to-man for most of the game. About 1 minute outside of that. That is their primary defense. They rely on it about 90% of the time.
Osborne gets to the key, lets the jumper go, and he's got it. Deshaun Osborne picks up 2 for the Trojans. So they retake the lead.
A nice job there by Osborne. He saw a little opening while Wekiva was rotating their man coverage and leaned in and got the right angle to drop the ball through the bucket. So 1 minute left here. And again, despite the trials and tribulations Wekiva's had here in the second quarter, they can still get out of this period in a fairly good position. Worst case scenario, tie, perhaps take the lead, but they have an opportunity to settle down now and reestablish their game and what they do well. They're going to catch a break there. Evans fell asleep. Twice Evans falls asleep.
Terrence McLean, and 1. Trojans foul called against number 10, Dante Adderley. That's his second personal foul, the team's 5th. Checking into the game for Evans, number 2, Andrew Marcel. Also in for Evans, number 5, Surrey Washington.
So we talked about it in the first half there. Offensive rebounding playing a big role for Wekiva as they got 8 compared to Evans' 3. And they've actually done fairly well here in the second quarter, garnering 4 now. But that fourth offensive rebound is the biggest so far. As you like to say, Mark, helps stop the bleeding. And
so the Mustangs back on top now. Oh, Michael James wanted a 5 count. Real bad on that, but he will eventually get. Terrence McLean comes up with the steal. Can't get it to go. Who had the putback? Putback made by number 21, Latavius Poole. Clarence Cummings can't get it at the other end. Nice look there by Laster, but off the mark there. That takes us to halftime, and it is a 3-point ball game. 24-21 is the score, headed into the locker rooms.
And again, Mark, real quick here as we head into halftime, that series, the last 3-4 possessions was exactly what Wekiva needed, starting with, again, as I mentioned, that strong offensive rebound coming off McLean. They then were able to regain possession and turn it into points.
All right, we're going to come back for the halftime recap a little later because we have some special activities for you. Synergy, is that what they're called?
Synergy, yes. Synergy Dance Company.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, for your halftime entertainment, Wekiva High School is proud to present the Synergy Dance Company.
Uptown, downtown, everywhere we get down.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wekiva High School Synergy Dance Company. And now we'll take this opportunity to go over your halftime stats, beginning with the Trojans. Clarence Cummings has hit a free throw, has 2 rebounds and a steal as well. Jashawn Melvin, 2 points. Andrew Marcel, 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal. And Antoine has 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 block shots. And Deshaun Osborne leads the team with 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist and a block shot. As for the Mustangs, Tristan Bryan has 2 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. Terrence McLean with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and Michael James leads the team with 10 points, 3 rebounds. And Latavius Poole has 4 points, 3 rebounds, a steal, and a block.
Get $300 off Google Pixel.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we present the Wekiva High School Color Guard.
Slide on the pimp gang with my pinky ring. Lot of gang, lot of bitch in the icy chain. While you claim that you're rich, that's a false.
The Mustangs have the opening possession of the second half. And welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief in what has turned out to be a pretty tight ball game so far.
Everything was going Evans' way there after they rallied from an 8-point deficit to take a lead.
Foul is called against number 21, Latavius Poole. That's his third personal foul. The team's first this half.
And then, of course, Wekiva turned the tide there, scoring 7 in a row to, and actually 8 in a row, excuse me. 8 in a row without a couple of possessions. So came out and really looked like they were what they were doing there in that first half, especially with getting the turnovers and that, of course, leading to high field goal percentage because you're getting easier shots. Looking at the stats here in the first half, both teams shot the ball very well from the first from 2-point range. Even Steven, as they say, both 7 of 16, so just below 50%. Neither shot the ball well from 3-point range. Only 1 of 5 for Evans, 2 of 11 for Wekiva. Of course, if you follow Wekiva, you know that that's not unusual. They're not a good 3-point field goal shooting team. They're not built on 3-point field goals like a lot of teams nowadays are. Rebounding was in Wekiva's favor. Mentioned that throughout the first half, and that continued a 25-11 advantage.
Michael James for 3 on the pass from Donovan Stokes.
And of course, no sooner did I mention the 3-point shooting not being very well. James drains the tray, but again, a 25-11 advantage in overall rebounding, 12-6 in offensive. And of course, as I mentioned many times, that's one of those stats that my eyes immediately drawn to along with turnovers. We talked about it in the first half. If you get an offensive rebound, it gives you another opportunity to score. Also helps increase your field goal percentage as well. And Wekiva certainly took advantage of that concept school of thought. The one difference, Wekiva also had a big advantage.
Clarence Cummings on the Trojan jump shot.
Wekiva also had a big advantage as we get a turnover here.
Yeah, Michael James did not see that coming. Andrew Marcel to Deshaun Osborne for 3.
Wekiva also had an advantage at the free throw line. They actually, both teams shot 4, but the advantage was in Evans, missing 7 free throws. They were 4 of 11, Wekiva 4 of 4, and turnovers were 3 in Evans' favor, 11, turning the ball only 8 times compared to 11 for Evans.
Andy Antoine is called on the offensive charge taken by Isaac Laster. It's Antoine's third personal foul, the team's first, and the Mustangs request a full timeout. And a full timeout called by Wekiva. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we want to remind you that we are on a quest to get to 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We've made a lot of progress this year. We just opened the channel in August, and over the course of football, volleyball, soccer, basketball seasons, and a little bit of wrestling too, we've managed to climb our way up to about 430. Now we're trying to get over that line. We want to get to at least 450 before we get to the end of the regular season, because when we get to 1,000, we will become a YouTube partner. We think we can make that happen this year or next year. When we become a YouTube partner, that means that some of the revenue from that advertising you see on YouTube goes to us instead of going to Google. So we don't ask you to pay for our webcast, but we do ask you to help us by subscribing. Show your support for Mustang Athletics and help us to push those subscriber numbers up. If you're tuned in right now to our webcast, tap that little red subscribe button below the video. If you're here in the arena, pull out your phone right now, search for Wekiva Sports on YouTube and hit subscribe. Even if you are here in person, you don't actually need the webcast.
How did Evans get the ball back?
Offensive charge. Terrence McLean picks up a short jumper for the Mustangs.
Nice job there by McLean, creating some space there and immediately taking advantage of it. And so far, Wekiva has not played well. They've not handled the ball well here, turning the ball over 4 times already.
And we'll While we're paused here, we'll give a couple of shout-outs to Lakedra Marshall and Braxton Blue, our two newest subscribers. Clarence Cummings on an inbound alley-oop to Andy Antoine. Boy, Neil, that's something you normally don't see outside of the NBA.
Yeah, well, that unfortunately is, as much as you like to soft pedal it, really can't. Wekiva just fell asleep there at the wheel on the defensive end. Cummings got wide open there. No one bothered to
Yeah,
cover.
it was right off the inbound. I mean, the clock didn't actually start until it touched Antoine's hands, and then he was there and ready to make the alley-oop. But, yeah, to your point, well, you certainly can't take that away from Evans as being a very dazzling offensive maneuver. The Wekiva blown coverage did help to facilitate that. Marcel gets a steal, and it's going to go to number 22, Deshaun Osborne, with a stolen bucket for the Trojans. So just like that, Evans is back on top. Mustangs starting this quarter about like they started the last one. Evans has outscored Wekiva 9-5 since the break. Latavius Poole draws a foul on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot two for the Mustangs. Foul is called against Trojans number 21, Andy Antoine. That's his fourth personal foul and the team's second. So you heard the crowd react to that, Neil. Evans travels well, of course. They also have their entire JV team in attendance. They didn't like that. And it's also a big deal for Evans because that is the fourth foul on Andy Antoine. Now, he has 8 points and 3 rebounds in the books and a lot of intangibles for the Trojans as well.
Yeah, and again, it's not just the fact it's the fourth foul, but it's the fourth foul with still 12 minutes left in the ball game. I mean, of course, you never want anyone to foul out as Wekiva misses her first free throw of the game. But 12 minutes is a long, long time to go without drawing a foul, especially in a game like this, very physical, a lot of contact. And now Wekiva goes to full court defense. Evans, at least on this possession, having a much easier time breaking that press than Wekiva did.
Cummings way too hot on the layup there. Rebound goes to Michael James.
So, Mark, with 3.5 minutes left here, everything we said, we can go over turnovers, free throws, the percentage, back and forth nature, but when it comes down to it, this is a typical District 9A3 game.
No basket. Offensive charge is called against Michael James. That's his second personal foul, the team's second as well. Clarence Cummings will get credit for taking that.
So, basically, District 9A3 as Wekiva remains in full court defense. The give no quarter, take no quarter. We've seen both teams go ahead. We've seen both teams played well for stretches, and we've seen both teams play badly for stretches. So now Wekiva remaining in man-to-man defense here.
Andrew Marcel gets his way to the baseline for two.
Who scored that?
Two.
So flash and dash move there. Still stop and go, a bit of a stutter. Along the baseline, took advantage of Wekiva's slow rotation.
Good look on the three by Michael James. Can't get it, but Poole is there to make the offensive board. And it's Latavius Poole on the pass to Terrence McLean for three.
Well, Wekiva once again takes advantage of an offensive rebound and goes back into the lead.
James, stumbling backwards, manages to pick up the steal. Gets the ball swatted away from him by Dante Adderley. Checking into the game for the Trojans, Jashawn Melvin. And Neil, actually, it was about this time of year. I was nearly on this day several years ago that we had the shot heard round the world, if you'll recall.
Yes.
The great tip-in, the Jason Hughes to Willie Carmichael tip-in with 0.2 seconds remaining to clinch the Metro Championship and the ball game for Wekiva. A day that we will not soon forget. Michael James adds two more for the Mustangs. That is probably, I would have to say, since I've announced nearly every basketball game that has ever happened in this arena, Deshaun Melvin to Arthur Johnson. As I started to say, I've announced nearly every basketball game that has ever happened in this arena, and I might have to put that as the number one most exciting and thrilling moment in the history of Wekiva basketball, certainly in this arena. Gosh, how many years ago was that? I know Coach Williams was still here.
I believe it was 7 years ago.
Okay.
I believe it was Coach Williams last year, which was actually,
Push is called against Deshaun Melvin. That's his first personal foul, and it's the team's third. Checking back into the game for the Mustangs, Tristan Bryan.
Actually, I believe that was 6 years ago, since Coach Williams left 5 years ago. But that was a tremendous game, about as high a stake as you can get. Both Wekiva was number one in the state 7A rankings, and Evans was number one in 8A.
Held ball, possession, Trojans. So Michael James with a valiant effort there. At least he'll get the possession arrow for the Mustangs. And Arthur Johnson in transition on a dunk. And Neil, the Mustangs just did not see that coming. It was wide open, and Clarence Cummings saw the opening, fed it to Arthur Johnson with a precise pass the entire length of the court, and there was nobody there to stop that. And you hear the crowd react. As we mentioned, Evans travels well. Wekiva also in good attendance tonight. And while the stands are not as full as they were 6 years ago for that shot heard around the world, those who are here certainly are adding some intensity to the atmosphere. Checking into the game for the Trojans, number 5, Story Washington.
Yeah, certainly the intensity is no different here, as Wekiva is going to go back to full court pressure.
And maybe things a little too intense here, as Coach Biaggi, the athletic director, has to come out to engage in a little bit of crowd control. Mustang foul called against number 32, Donovan Stokes. That's his third personal foul, the team's third as well. Checking into the game for Wekiva, Xavier Christian. Full court pressure continues from the Mustangs. A lot of speed from Isaac Laster, making Osborne work hard for it. And now we'll go into the half-court set, settling into some swing action. Xavier Christian picks up a steal and then draws a foul. Foul is called against Trojans number 2, Andrew Marcel, is first, the team's fourth. And not really a lot of time to do anything. So it is Mustangs' ball. It's just Mustangs' ball at their own baseline, which they're struggling to understand here. And a good look at the end by Isaac Laster, but it won't go, and that's going to take us to the end of the third period. 1-point ball game, and the Trojans will have a 36-35 lead headed into the final 8 minutes in a real thriller that's set up to be a photo finish. I would have to go back and go through the play-by-play to see. Terrence McLean on the Mustang jump shot. As I started to say, I'd have to go back through the play-by-play to see how many lead changes there have been. I just know there have been a lot of them. Here's another one. Isaac Laster steals a Mustang basket. And we'll pause for a timeout. 30-second timeout is requested by the Trojans.
Is that Isaac Laster?
Yeah, that was Isaac, right? And we'll take this opportunity to take a look at some fourth quarter stats for the Trojans. Deshaun Osborne leads the team with 17 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. For the Mustangs, we've got 2 in double figures. Terrence McLean with 18 points, 3 rebounds. Michael James, 15 points and 5 rebounds.
So again, coming back to live action, Mark, 4 in a row here, 4 points by Wekiva. Wekiva's going away from the full court defense, but they are picking up the Evans ball carrier at half court now. They remain in man-to-man. So heading into this fourth quarter here, the shooting actually went down a little bit for Wekiva. They were 50%, 7 of 16 at halftime, now 9 of 22, so a drop from just under 50%.
Dante Adderley fouled on the attempt to go to the line and shoot 2 for the Trojans. Foul called against Latavius Poole. That's his 4th personal foul and the team's 4th. And so now the Mustangs have a player in foul trouble as well with Latavius Poole. He's got 5 points and 4 rebounds, and again, a lot of intangibles for the Mustangs.
So Wekiva, field goal percentage dropped from 44% to 41, while Evans actually rose slightly. Of course, they shot 44% as well at halftime. 13 of 24 now, so up to 54%. They were 6 of 8 in that third quarter, really explaining why they were able to take the lead. Wekiva continued to dominate rebounding at 30-16.
Tristan Bryan, and 1. Foul is called against number 22, Deshaun Osborne on the block. His 1st and the team's 5th.
So again, rebounding, as you just saw there, continues to be heavily in Wekiva's favor, 30-16. Neither team really had many opportunities to rebound. Of course, Evans went 6 of 8. Only 5 grabbed by Wekiva in that third quarter, and well, both teams actually grabbed 5. Neither team, and again, free throws remain an advantage for Wekiva, more in the sense of what Evans is not doing, missing 7, only 4 of 11. Wekiva's 5 of 6. Who got that last basket?
Foul called against number 12, Isaac Laster. That's his 2nd personal foul and the team's 5th.
Who got that last basket? Free throw?
3 had a 2 and 1.
It was 3. So again, Mark, a huge play there. I don't think you need to be a basketball guru to understand the importance.
Clarence Cummings to Deshaun Osborne for 3.
And of course, as soon as I mention it, Evans answers an equally important basket there
Yeah, they are definitely not ready to concede this ball game. Good look under the basket, and it's going to be Tristan Bryan to Latavius Poole.
And the freshman, you mentioned at the beginning of the game, this is a young team, Wekiva.
Andrew Marcel on the pass to Andy Antoine. So Tristan Bryan, I'll talk about him for a second. It was kind of quiet for most of the game, and then all of a sudden has been a major factor here. I mean, not that he wasn't contributing intangibles before, but has been a very significant factor for the last couple of minutes here. Too much time on the inbound, Trojans ball. And so there you see the effectiveness of the Trojan defense putting on that full court pressure, covering all four available options for Michael James, and the Mustangs will turn it over.
Wekiva now remaining in man-to-man defense. They've gone with it throughout the entire game except for about a minute. We're going to get a travel.
Traveling Mustangs ball. And Marcel took a step first before he started his dribble toward the basket.
Hesitation.
30-second timeout requested by Wekiva. This will be the last 30-second timeout of the game. It leaves Wekiva with 2 fulls remaining and the Trojans with 3 fulls. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 4 minutes, 22 seconds left in the ball game, and Wekiva currently on top by 2. It has been a close ball game throughout. I don't think we've had more than 5 or 6 points separating either team. And here, Michael James fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. Foul called against Trojans number 10, Dante Adderley. That's his 3rd personal foul, and the team's 6th. And so, of course, you saw Michael James hanging from the rim for a moment there. That can earn you a technical foul, but it is permitted for you to briefly do that if you cannot safely land. And so that is permissible in that case.
Yeah, and it's been one of the 2 or 3 big themes as far as the impact throughout the game. Free throw shooting. Wekiva now 7 of 8. Well, opportunity there goes by the wayside. 7 of 10, still above average, but unfortunately, in a game like this, those 3 points can come back to haunt a team. Evans is only 6 of 13, and again, that's more a stat about what Evans has not done, leaving 7 points on the table.
Putback is made by number 3, Clarence Cummings.
And that's the 4th time tonight in this game. Wekiva's fallen asleep. An offensive rebound or just an alley-oop slam is scored by Evans.
Yeah, and credits to Cummings there, waiting the timing just right so he didn't get called for an offensive basket interference. 3-point basket scored by Andrew Marcel. Now he has assisted a lot of 3-pointers tonight. Finally he picks up one of his own. And that will put Evans on top now by 2. They've had a couple of unanswered plays in a row. And here we'll get Latavius Poole ties the game for the Mustangs. Michael had the assist. So it's a new ball game with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. Gosh, Neil, we could have saved a lot of time and trouble if we just started here. Nice work there by Isaac Laster, putting some intense pressure on the Trojans, but nevertheless, Deshaun Osborne coast to coast to recover for Evans.
So there was a golden opportunity for Wekiva.
Yeah, dazzling defense followed by equally dazzling offense.
Who scored that?
22.
22. So again, if you don't follow high school basketball, Osborne is the face of Evans, and he certainly has come up here big, coming down in the home stretch here.
And Neil, as I watch my control screen over here, and I watch the decibel meter, I see that it is a little higher than usual, even when we're not talking, as Latavius Poole scores 2 for the Mustangs.
So as we await the foul call here, just another night in District 9A3, Mark.
Block is called against Michael James. That's his 3rd personal foul, the team's 6th.
So give no quarter, take no quarter here for either team.
Clarence Cummings with a go-ahead 3.
Again, Wekiva's been burned on that rotation all night, swinging the ball around the perimeter. Shooter left open.
Clarence Cummings has assisted 3 baskets tonight. Now he gets a second of his own. Block shot there by Andy Antoine. Under a minute to play. Mustangs trail by 3. They'll have the ball at the opposing baseline. Timeout, Trojans. Full timeout requested by Evans. And we'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Less than a minute to go. That drained 3 by Clarence Cummings has left the Mustangs with a deficit here that they'll need to make up on their next possession or 2. Probably looking at a very limited number of possessions left in this game. Laster, block shot. Michael James for 3.
So we talked about it throughout the first quarter. Comes back again. Offensive rebounding.
I got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is your game reset. And for Evans, we've got Deshaun Osborne with 22 points to lead his team. Andy Antoine with 10. The Mustangs have 3 players in double figures now. Latavius Poole with 11 points, 4 rebounds. Terrence McLean, 18 points, 3 rebounds. Michael James now has moved into the top position to lead his team thanks to that 3 with 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. And it is a new ball game with 48.5 seconds to go. Neither team has a foul to give. They got bonus in both directions. Watching fouls, Andy Antoine with 4 for Evans. Latavius Poole with 4 for the Mustangs. Wekiva has 1 full timeout remaining. Evans has 2 full timeouts remaining.
See who got the offensive rebound? So again, Mark, as we come back to live action, real quick reminder, this is a very important game for Wekiva. Evans has secured the number 2 seed for the district championship tournament. Apopka will be number 1. However, Wekiva is going for only its 2nd victory in district. Still, you want to go in with 2 victories as opposed to 1. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, and if Apopka does turn out to be unbeatable in the district tournament, as many people think they are, these last 23 seconds could be the difference between who gets the runner-up spot and who gets the opportunity to play in the regional tournament.
Oh, if you're a Mustang fan, your heart just sank there. Evans clearly looking to take the last shot here. Wekiva cannot let him get that shot now. They're in the position they want to be. Can't let him drive the lane.
Foul is called against Mustangs, number 3. Tristan Bryan, his 2nd personal foul, the team's 7th. At the line, shooting 2, Clarence Cummings. So, Neil, no pressure or anything here, but
yeah,
this is probably for the ball game.
Talked about it all game as well. Free throw shooting, only 6 of 11 from Evans.
And we will pause here for a timeout. The Mustangs will spend their final timeout.
Actually, excuse me, before we go to break, 6 of 15 from Evans. And they've actually missed a pair of free throws several times. So Mark, as we come back here, actually, Evans is only 5 of 13 from the line, obviously below 50%. So 1.9 seconds left, so Wekiva will still have time to get the ball, at least good enough to get off a reasonable 3-point field goal attempt.
And that'll break the tie. The Mustangs are going to have to make something happen real fast. They do not have any timeouts remaining. Coach Lubin spent his final timeout, which that's obviously there are advantages and disadvantages to doing that, but that means that he can't stop the clock here. That takes us to the end of the ball game, and it is a 1-point victory for the Trojans, and they will lock in that spot for the district tournament in the 3rd place spot. And that takes us to the end of the ball game. That last free throw turned out to be crucial from Clarence Cummings. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for tuning in tonight on our YouTube or NFHS Network channels, or for joining us here in person at Mustang Arena for what was a real thriller and absolutely everything it was advertised to be. A great game here in District 9A3 action. Final scores: Deshaun Osborne, 22 points to lead the Trojans to victory. Of course, Clarence Cummings with 9 points, including that crucial free throw at the end. He also had 6 points and 3 rebounds. Andy Antoine in double figures as well with 10 points, 4 rebounds. Mustangs are led by Michael James with 19 points, 7 rebounds. Terrence McLean, 18 points, 3 rebounds. And Latavius Poole with 11 points and 4 rebounds. Once again, thanks so much for coming out tonight to support your Trojan and Mustang athletes. Please drive carefully and arrive home safely. For those of you listening online, thanks for tuning in. We hope that you will subscribe to our Wekiva Sports channel before you go. Have a great night.